if you want to be a content creator, we won't even say full time. Like you want to be a content creator. That's your job, and that's what you want to do as your career. You can't just go live and that's it. You know, but like you said, there's so much behind the scenes. So think of the streaming as almost like a part-time job within your content creation job. Think about it like that. You need to make content other places, online, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, if you like TikTok. And if you can't edit those videos, you either need to maybe hire someone to help you with that process or start learning how to do those things, because that is what's going to make a night and day difference for you.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of StreamKey. I am Belloc, as always. A different mic today because I'm currently having some pretty annoying audio issues, but we're not going to let that stop us. So we got two amazing guests today. We're going to start off with MPI. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, dude. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely, dude. I'm doing great. It's good to have you, as always. And then we got Rob Busey, formerly King Robu. How you doing today, sir?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me also.
Always love having you guys on the show. And of course, we have the amazing co-host, Mr. Sadomi. What's up, man?
What's up, people? Hope everybody's having a great Monday.
There it is. All right, so we're going to get into the topics now, I guess. Sorry, I'm a little thrown off because I spent the last 15 minutes trying to fix things that aren't fixable. It's pretty dope. So, first topic of the day, streamer gets banned for firing weapon on stream. I feel like almost everybody here is going to know about this. It blew up on Twitter, obviously, because it's a person on stream shooting a weapon in their home. Not at a firing range or anything, not in a safe way by any means at all, ever. And, while drunk, yeah. Really stupid stuff. And yeah, the drunk misfire, Diashawn. And so I don't know, there isn't obviously too much to say about this. There's not going to be any opinions on this subject. There's not going to be, no one's going to be like, you know what, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? I think we all have the same general consensus that the dude's an idiot. Yeah. Drunk or not, there's no reason for any of that at all. So we had to talk about that just because, if any of you guys have anything you want to say about it, by all means, go ahead.
So I'm going to ask you, what are the 4 gun laws? Just so we can explain it to everyone, because I know you know firearms, so you kind of know. Safety,
and safety.
Gotcha.
Also, don't put your finger on the trigger unless you're going to shoot something.
Yeah. And also
every gun is a loaded gun.
So being somebody who's fired a lot of weapons in my day, because I was in the army and stuff, he racks the chamber, he racks the upper receiver and makes a round come out, obviously. It ejects a round, but he doesn't take the magazine out before he does that. And so as soon as he does that, it just racks another round in.
Right.
And it's just watching that makes me so uncomfortable because it's so dumb. It's so dumb on so many different levels. And yeah, it makes me really uncomfortable watching the video, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a toy. It's not cool to play around with. It's very serious stuff. And
I was really surprised how many people I saw in I saw this through some Facebook group, and there were so many people that are like, yeah, he made a mistake, man, but people make mistakes. Maybe we don't jump on him and ban him or anything. And then they were like, but it's this guy, we know he's a good guy. And I'm like, I just watched him shoot a gun in his house.
Right.
That doesn't make you a bad person, but it doesn't make you a smart person.
Right.
Just because of who he is does not make this acceptable.
I can call a moron, right? That's
absolutely.
I don't need to know their character.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who he is. It doesn't make an acceptable act, basically, is my thing.
Right.
We can't just say oh, we've seen him. He's been a nice guy. Okay, that's fine. He still, did this. We can't just overlook it.
He put everyone around him in danger. His animals, his wife, everybody, neighbors, if he has any. It's stupid. And he might he probably is one of the nicest guys. He probably has nothing nothing bad to say about him at all, but he made this one decision, and it was just a really, really, really stupid decision. And obviously he knows that, everybody knows that, but it's not something you can just let slide, because it is a very serious thing, especially when you're a streamer who, has people watching you. Like, you have to, you're kind of like a role model to some people, especially when you get to a certain level on Twitch. And the fact that he even brought a weapon onto a stream, whether it was loaded or not, or whether he intended on it being loaded or not, is just stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And he has the Coors Light right there next to him. It's a bad look. It's a really bad look.
It's like keeping the bloody gloves in your car with the dead body next to it.
I didn't know. Those aren't mine. Right. I don't know where that came from.
And let's just be glad he didn't shoot himself, because that would be so bad for Twitch.
It would have been horrible. It would have been absolutely horrible. And like, his excuse was he was drunk and being stupid. I'm going to tell you right now that alcohol is not an excuse for handling a firearm like that at all. It's just like, anybody who knows anything about safety with firearms won't be doing anything like that, whether under the influence or not. So next topic is YouTube paid $160 million to steal esports exclusivity from Twitch. The deal includes Overwatch League, Call of Duty League, and Hearthstone, which follows the $90 million Twitch paid to carry just the Overwatch League. So we talked about this a while ago with YouTube purchasing the rights to all these esports leagues, and how it's probably going to make a huge hit to Twitch, obviously. But it's interesting to see. I don't know like where these numbers exactly came from. I don't know like how these sources got these numbers, but pretty crazy, staggeringly large amounts of money. Obviously, it's probably going to work out in the long run, but I don't know what you guys had to say about that.
Do we know how long that was for?
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yep.
I'm not too familiar with Overwatch League. I don't watch it or keep follow it myself, but generally when it comes to having esports leagues, people just kind of watch it where it is. They're not truly loyal to the platform.
Right.
So them taking that, I think, is ultimately, a good acquisition. I'm not sure they overpaid. I'm not sure they underpaid. I'm not sure where their finances will lay, because I don't have all that information. But I do think that having the Overwatch League and all of Activision's, that also includes Call of Duty Esports too, which is pretty huge. Again, I don't personally follow it, but because I don't personally follow it doesn't mean it's not big. So I'm really want to see how much YouTube's going to push that when they become how much going to push that in the next year or two. Right.
And obviously they're definitely going to be making more moves. I mean, they've already purchased some big time Twitch streamers. They've done this. They're going to be doing some pretty big things, and obviously they'll be a huge contender with Twitch. MPI, you got anything about this, my dude?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as Sadomi. Like, I don't know if they overpaid or underpaid. Like, it makes sense to want these things to be exclusive on a platform, because you become the only option for them to watch that, because these are huge things. Overwatch League is huge, and I mean, Call of Duty is pretty big still. I don't think it's as big as it was, but it is still big. And then I mean, Hearthstone's obviously big too. So having all of those kind of locked into one place, especially when you want to grow your live streaming space, makes sense. But I kind of agree with Sadomi. I don't think anyone's going to be loyal to the platform. They're loyal to the sport. It would be like it's like the NFL. I don't care if it's on Fox, ABC, CBS. I want to watch football. I'm going to go where it's at, and then go back to my regularly scheduled programming of not watching live television. But if you are a live streamer, or you watch a lot of streams, especially Call of Duty, Overwatch, or Hearthstone, you have your streamers that you watch. You're going to go watch the big tournament and then go, cool, it's over now, and jump back to those other streamers you watch, whether they're Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, Facebook Gaming, wherever they are. You're going to go back to them. So I'm curious to see what this does to kind of boost the live streaming, if anything, or if it's just, we want more people here, bring people here, and hope that they stay kind of thing.
Right. It's like a different version of buying Ninja or Shroud. You know what I mean? Like when Shroud is streaming Tarkov, I'll go watch Shroud on Mixer, because of the Tarkov. But as soon as he's done, I'm not gonna go watch somebody else on Mixer.
Right.
I'm not on Mixer for anybody else but Shroud. So yeah,
Another
I don't.
thing-
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So another thing too with that is when you think about companies like YouTube buying up these deals, you have to think about the ROI they have on that. Like, what are they getting out of it? And so we can't just think strictly about viewership. We think about advertising numbers, because that's something that they will definitely want to advertise the heck out of. Like Alphabet, that's what they want. And also what use it'll be to bring attention and more people, more native to the platform. So it's kind of wondering at what point are they going to balance those two out? They're going to focus more on the huge advertising deals they can get for that, which will heavily depend on the pure viewership, or just having another option for people to stay on the YouTube gaming platform for live stream events. So essentially, like I said, I don't know everything because I don't work at Alphabet. I don't work at Google. I don't do any of that. I'm looking for job, so if you're hiring, let me know. But yeah, so we have to figure out what do they want to do with it. Do they want to mainly use this as a way to grow their platform, or use it as a way to quickly make some cash up in the short term?
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like it's gonna do a lot in the long run, but as of right now, I mean, we've seen the numbers fall on Twitch in 2019. Wait, hold up, that's backwards. So in Twitch, on Twitch in 2019, the number of average viewership grew 16%, but it actually dropped 35% in the first week on YouTube. So obviously that could be because of the change and people not knowing where it's being held right now and things like that. But I feel like it's going to be coming back eventually. Obviously, with YouTube's larger user base and everything, I think it's going to eventually. I think they just need to do more advertising to get the name out or the word out that it's not on Twitch anymore. But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool stuff. It's exciting, and we'll just see what it's going to do for YouTube in the long run. So the next topic that we have is Alinity got bit by her cat.
Good.
Which is just karma. That's just karma for sure. I mean, we've talked about everything that she's done before. Everybody knows about Alinity and eating her cat and feeding her cat alcohol and just so many things. And there's just so many meme videos made about from the situation, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's pure comedy gold, and unless you're a Alinity or an Alinity fan, I mean, even if you're an Alinity fan, you'd probably enjoy this. But it's just hilarious. I don't know. Did you guys? I'm assuming everybody here saw the video.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, repeatedly.
Too many times.
A lot.
I wasn't even looking for it. I was just scrolling through my Twitter. I was like, oh, everybody's talking about it. Okay.
And let's get on to the biggest win. Honestly, the biggest win for this entire situation was Linda herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you know why? We're talking about her.
Yep.
And she gets free attention for literally a non-action. Like, cats scratch and bite people all the time.
Yep.
It's just
Just
way better that it happened live on stream and to Alinity.
Now, I want to spin this a different way, because I think this is actually really interesting. I think a lot more streamers should kind of embrace this. This is a very subtle form of storytelling. This like the cat has had a very tiny hero's journey from being tossed over a chair to getting revenge back on her abusive owner. So,
right.
And people like stories. So, hey,
Just
good
as
stuff.
Campbell would be proud.
Next topic we have is TwitchCon EU gets canceled due to coronavirus concerns. I know a lot of people are going to be really upset about this, but surprisingly, the responses that I saw on Twitter were a lot of people just being really happy with Twitch being concerned about the health of the attendees, which is really cool. Obviously, they're going to be losing a lot of money in the long run from not doing this convention, because I think it's coming up, the original date's coming up pretty soon, and all the planning and everything that went into this, Twitch is obviously not making money off of this move at all, but it's cool to see them being aware and just trying to keep everybody safe and healthy. Anybody else have anything about that?
I can go for a long time on the coronavirus, because I legitimately think this is going to be the worst thing for the economy, and it's going to show itself in about 6 months, and it's going to be really bad. So if you guys don't know, the entire travel industry too is just in the toilet.
Yeah. Every event like this is the same way right now too.
Yeah,
Yep.
GDC's canceled. E3's gonna be
Google
canceled.
I/O just got canceled, which is
Like-
Google I/O got canceled, which is a huge thing every year.
Mm-hmm. The Olympics might be canceled. Like it's crazy
Mobile World,
stuff.
I think Mobile World Congress got canceled too. So like every big cell phone announcement that happens every year just kind of was like flop.
Right.
Like everybody had to scramble. So I don't know. I'm glad that they're taking things seriously, but I'm not a doctor, so I can't say if this is the right decision or not because illness exists everywhere. There's viruses, there's bacteria everywhere. You can get sick no matter what happens. So it's almost kind of at what point do we continue to live like in fear of something? But I know they're also researching what's causing it and how to cure it. So I think the faster that something like that happens, the faster we can all kind of go, oh, okay, we can go back to normal life.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's arguments both ways as to, the coronavirus is the worst thing to happen ever. And there's also people saying it's just another thing that the media is blowing up just for the sake of blowing things up. Yeah, I don't know. I like you said, I'm not a doctor either. And I can't go one way or the other really.
Also, one thing to really think about is if you are a content creator or like a streamer, someone who like creates business from people not going out, then you have a lot more potential in this market. And also, if you really want to focus on like, how do I word this? Most opportunities come when people are the most pessimistic. So if you're trying to start something new or trying to find something new to hit, I think this is a great time to do it. But at the same time, also coronavirus, I don't think we should mess around with it simply because it could be a condition that evolves in 3 months while it's inside of everyone. And it just becomes something that's 25% lethal, which then you don't want to have half your population infected with it because then that will not be good.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely scary stuff, but I don't know if anybody else has anything on this.
I was sad about it, but I understand it for sure. I was supposed to go to TwitchCon EU, so I was like, oh yeah, Amsterdam, I'll totally go. Whatever. And of course, like I was involved with like a couple partners and stuff and like what activations they'd be doing there. So there was like a lot of planning that went into that. So like watching that just one day, all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, so that month and all those meetings that you just spent, those are gone now. So
right.
Yeah. So that part does suck, but like I totally get it. Like it's good to see also just kind of companies, I guess, putting just the safety of their people
right.
at top of mind rather than like, hey, we got business and to make money. Like
right.
Yeah.
And then
cool
retail stores.
And and I've liked how many companies too are like, okay, well, we're gonna work from home for the next month if you're able to. Do not leave your
I'm
house.
on the show right now
Which
because
is
I
awesome.
have to work till like the end of the month.
Yeah. Pretty cool stuff, and you get to work from home because of it. So, next topic we have is Pokemon. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, much to my wife's dismay.
Oh, damn. So next topic we have is Pokimane signs exclusivity deal with Twitch, which is pretty cool. I know that a while ago, she was kind of hinting at, a big announcement and maybe not knowing where things are going to lead to in the future. So it's cool to see Pokimane stay on Twitch. She did mention that she turned down, quote unquote, life-changing money in order to stay on Twitch. She was saying that, staying with her community and staying where she feels comfortable is important, which is pretty cool because obviously that hasn't been the case for everybody. Anybody got anything on this one?
So the thing to notice about Pokey is she is not just a Twitch streamer by any means. She has a lot of extra ventures and a lot of hands in different pots elsewhere. Like she has her own makeup line. She has her own, I think, clothing line too. And I don't know many other broadcasters that have that much outward reach. So Pokey staying is less of a streamer being like, I'm loyal to this platform, more of just, she doesn't need to switch. And I think she said herself too in an interview a few months back that she no longer cared about money simply because she has enough of it. Like she doesn't need more of it. What she needs more is opportunities to do bigger and better things. I think you'll see a trend with that with a lot of people. Like for instance, Shrouded Ninja didn't go to Mixer simply because they were offered big bankrolls. They offered because they had maybe a little bit of power in shaping a platform. And also with that deal, they had a lot more free time for themselves instead of having to necessarily worry about, okay, my stream's not up here. I can kind of let it go down here and just focus on other outside ventures. Because realistically, I still don't see streaming as something people can do for 20, 30, 40 years. It's very stressful. And you're going to see, like I said months ago, you see a lot of people taking deals so they can have these opportunities to do extra things outside of it, past streaming, past being in your chair for 25 hours in 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see like where some of these top streamers are in 20 to 30 years, like you're saying. I have no idea. Like, is it going to be like the late night shows, like with Jimmy Fallon or any of those, or are they just going to stop streaming altogether? Like, it's really interesting to think about. Robu, it looked like you were about to say something.
I was just going to say, like Sadomi said, like I think the greatest thing about a lot of these deals is that, to his point, like it allows content creators more free time, but also it just kind of, helps reduce burnout. Like that was, a big topic. I mean, it's still a big topic, but like that was everywhere for quite a while. Just, people getting burnout and just not having any free time. Like everybody felt like, if they took a day off, they just lose a ton of subs, like that was a big topic everywhere for a long time. So now like they have the opportunity, like if I want to go take a vacation, like I've already got my, deal here. So I can go do that. And like, I don't necessarily need to worry about how many subs I'm going to lose while I'm gone for a few days. Right. Like, I think that's good because, while you're a content creator, your health is also important. Right. And not to mention the fact that your content will suffer when you're just burnt out and exhausted and just like, you're just done with it. Right. Like I've seen quite a few people that love games or in the games industry, but they've done it for so long, they've got to a point where like they just hate it. Like it's just a job to them now. It's just like, I hate seeing that passion like drain out of people.
Yeah, I mean, I always use the example that Ninja, when he did like his first like Fortnite tournament that he hosted or something like that, but he took 2 days off of streaming and he lost $44,000 in those 2 days because he wasn't getting subscriptions. Like, that's a crazy amount of money for just like, you're still doing video gaming related stuff, you're just not on your own stream, so you're losing money. Like, that's crazy to me. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool that they have their their free time now, like the people who have signed exclusivity deals with whichever platforms, because they do get the free time. They don't have to worry about how much am I streaming this week, how much money am I going to lose when I don't stream. MPI, do you have anything on this one?
I think you guys kind of nailed it. That's, when you have that X amount contract that you're guaranteed this much money, it makes it a little bit easier to say, well, I am going to go host that tournament because I'm not worried about losing $44,000 in subscribers. I have guaranteed money and I'm probably getting paid for this tournament. Maybe not $44,000 paid, but I'm still getting paid some money, and it can work itself out to allow you to be either more, I guess, lucrative is maybe a word I'm looking for, like widespread, like you've got your hands in more areas, diversified. That's the word I wanted.
There you go.
And also doing that is going to help you be probably more physically healthy because you're not sitting in the same chair for 12 hours a day every day. And you're not as burnt out on, I don't want to look at this desk anymore because it's all I see for 12 hours a day.
Right.
You get out in the world and host tournaments or do, talk shows or whatever it is that you're doing, and you can, get out of your house again. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope that like more content creators start to get these exclusivity deals. It'd be really interesting, especially like what if it gets to the point where like even like medium-sized content creators are starting to get these kind of things. It's really cool. And obviously it's done cool things like just validify streaming. Like it's validated streaming in as an actual career, which is really cool, obviously for anybody who's interested in any of this. chat, don't forget that you can ask us questions. You can at myself and TRUgaming if you have anything that you want to ask about with your specific stream, if you need any tips, advice, anything like that, or if you have any questions about the topics that we've been talking about. You can also join up in the Discord. I think it's !call-ins, and we'll pull you into the just waiting, and I'll add you, and then I'll add you to the call, and you can ask questions live on the stream. So another topic that I have was you can't worry about money when full-time streaming. It will ruin streaming for you and turn it into a job. I know Robu was just kind of talking about this a little bit, seeing that there was a really long period of people getting burnt out. And there's so many different reasons for burnout. And one of the primary ones that I know of, because I have friends that have been full-time streamers and have recently quit. I've also seen more people that, they say that their time of full-time streaming was terrible because they don't like relying on streaming to be their primary source of income, because it is very, you never know how much money you're going to make. Like, that's just facts. And so what do you guys have to say about this topic of being burnt out and worrying about how much money you're making as a full-time streamer?
I have a lot of thoughts.
Good.
So, I mean, Veli, you're a full-time streamer, and I kind of still am, I guess. But I went in with the thought of that is all I want to do, and I just want to see what happens. I want to see how this works and see if it is something that you can do. And I don't think that was like a sole thing that ruined streaming for me, is worrying about the money, because no matter what you're doing, you have to worry about that, unfortunately. Whether you're a full-time streamer, a YouTuber, if you're starting your own business to sell, t-shirts or a coffee shop, a bar, anything, you always have to worry about the money because it's a business. That's what it's there for, it's to pay your bills. So I think of it a lot like sales. When you work in sales, you're never guaranteed money, but the harder you work at it, the more that you can make. But you also have to not burn yourself out on it. So it's a hard line to find. And if you want to be a quote unquote full-time streamer, find other avenues of passive income as well. Yeah. If you're a talented photographer, go out and take photos and sell stock photos. You're not going to make millions of dollars on it, but it's income that you make while you're not doing anything. Edit videos for other people if you can edit videos. But in your free time on the weekends, if you like to bake for people's weddings. People always need baked goods for their weddings. Find the other things that you like, because streaming, it can't be the only thing that you like and the only thing that you do. Everyone has more than one thing that they like to do. So if you have those other things, use those to help also fill in those gaps where streaming isn't covering all of the income that you can. With that, I don't jump into like every affiliate program that you find in the world. That's one that I see a lot of people do, is I'm going to be a full-time streamer. I'm going to be an affiliate for 4,000 brands. No, don't do that. You're probably not going to make a lot of money off of those anyway, unless you already have a huge following, because those are only paying you if people buy things. Yeah. So you kind of just become free advertising at that point. But that's a whole nother conversation. And try not to like fall into those traps, because it almost turns into like a multi-level marketing thing at that point, which isn't going to work for anyone. Because most of those, you have to buy their products to then advertise their products to then make like 2% off of a sale.
Yeah, you do see a lot of that where people just want to get affiliated with like as many companies as they can, just to give some sort of validation. Because it does, like, especially for your first one, it feels nice when you get that first affiliateship with whatever company you can. You see a lot of them for Razer, because they give out like a free headset if you're a Razer affiliate, I think is what it's called. Like, they give you like a free headset, which is pretty cool, but then like the only gain that you get out of that afterwards is if people buy Razer products. And if you're a smaller streamer, and like let's say you only have 5 to 10 viewers, most of them probably already have the setup or stuff that they would need to game anyway, and they probably won't buy anything through your link because there's really no reason to. It's not like it's such a small percentage of people that will use a link that if you only have so many people in your community, it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, and it's not like in gear like that isn't something that people buy a new one of all the time. Like it's not like t-shirts where people are like, I have 55 t-shirts, and they buy new t-shirts when they either just want a new t-shirt to have or just have like an event coming up that they need a specific type of shirt for. But like headsets, I don't have 55 headsets in my closet,
Right.
If this one breaks, I'll buy a new one. But until this one breaks, I'm not getting a new one. So you're not going to get a lot of click-throughs on those and people buying a lot of those products because you don't need multiple of a lot of those products. So you won't see that come through a lot. If you're, if you have 100,000 people watching you every single day, sure, you might make some money off of it because that's a lot more people that might have broken their headset. But if it's, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 people, those people don't need a new headset every day. So if you're looking for things like that, it needs to be something that is actually somewhat lucrative. And I think a better way to do that is if you have something that you're really passionate about, like if there's a company that you buy a lot of products from, especially if it's something that's something you have to buy a lot of, like coffee, or people love like G Fuel, those kind of things, you'd be better to reach out to those companies who maybe don't have those programs and say, hey, I'm a content creator. I drink your coffee every single day on stream. People ask about it all the time. Can we maybe work out something where I get a link, they go to it, I get percentage of sales, and maybe you like throw me a bag of coffee. That's something that it's harder to do those things because if that program doesn't exist, they have to figure out how to get that program to exist and how to do it for you. But then it's something you're actually passionate about and that you actually use every single day. So it's not as forced, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sadomi, what do you got on this topic, my guy?
So, the first thing I always want to talk about when it comes to people saying they're full-time streamers is why are you calling yourself a full-time streamer? Because I think that is a very misleading term. Like, it's almost dangerous because that implies that. So when I think of streaming, this changed over time for me because I started learning that if you're streaming as a career, or if you're being a content creator as a career, that is a business. So the project from a business, you are not sitting down playing game. You're not a stripper, okay? You're not sitting there having people toss money at you while you're playing games. That's not how that works. At least not in 2020. Maybe in 2012 or 2013 when the market was still, very tiny. But you don't have that first mover advantage. You don't have that benefit anymore. So essentially, I want people to think if they're saying like, I want to be a full-time streamer. Why are you using the word full-time?
Yeah.
Because that, like I said, implies you're just saying they're playing games all day, which you're not doing, especially in 2020. In 2020, if you want to be a full-time content creator, you have to create a brand around yourself. You have to create something that push you out. Essentially, think about what are you selling? What are you selling? For most streamers, they cannot answer that question. Some people be like, good entertainment, good vibes. Well, guess what? Joe Blow over there has good vibes too, and he's just kind of better production value, better everything than you. So what can you do better than Joe Blow to make you stand out from the crowd? Not only that, when you're building a brand, who's your brand targeting? Like, who is it? Don't say, oh, it's for everyone who wants to have a good time. No, because everyone wants to have a good time, but then you're not specific enough. It's like dating profiles when someone says, I want to date somebody who loves to laugh. Well, duh, I don't want to date a miserable person either.
Laughing stupid.
Right? And then when you're also thinking about too, what are your income sources? And then really think about what your income sources are. Your income source is, oh yeah, I have this one guy in chat who thinks I'm funny, so I have to give me money once every few weeks. That does not sound stable. Imagine you're pitching your stream to an investor and then laugh at yourself because you're going to laugh. It's going to sound stupid. So you have to think a lot more deeply about things. Don't just jump in and be like, okay, I'm going to stream for 8 hours a day. I'm going to go make a YouTube video here and there. Figure out what you're doing. Make a plan. Look through it. It is very, very, I think legitimately, if you just don't even stream like 10 hours, you can be successful if you put those 30 hours, if you want to do it, the 40-hour a week thing, into something else. And essentially, I think my last tip, and this thing I did when I was full-time streaming, technically, was I had a part-time job that I had 20 hours a week at. because this schedule was at night, have my streams during the day, and that's when I was at my most balanced. Because balance is important, especially with a career like this. You're inside a lot, and depending on your home life, you might be alone, you might be isolated, and you might not have time or the extra funds to go out. Because if you're full on streaming and you're not already like bringing a lot of people in or have that business sense beforehand, you're not making enough money to really go on the bar to weekends if you feel like it. So you need to think, like I said, think about it as a business first and foremost, and then think about what you're selling, what do you offer, what's your product, and then work from there. Take a business course, read business books, ignore every advice about streaming, just focus on the business part, and then get the streaming part down. But that's all I gotta say on that.
There you go. Robu, what do you got on this topic, man?
I was just gonna say I never understood the why people say I'm a full-time anything, really, because like I'm not like I'm a full-time marketing person. Like,
right,
I'm just a marketing guy. What do you do? I'm in marketing. Like I was never, even when I was when I waited tables, I was never like I'm a full-time waiter. Right? Like I work at a restaurant. Like but like to Sadomi's point too, like there's a bunch of other things that go with that, right? Like whether it's you're building a brand, you're building content on other things, you're doing business inquiries, you're writing a business plan. Like there's a ton of other stuff that goes into just streaming, right? So I mean, yeah, it's like a weird, just say you're a content creator or whatever. Like you can just drop full time. I'm a full time whatever. Like yeah, I'm a full time asshole. Like that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Actual full time.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder if people do it to try to give it more
credibility.
Credibility and validity. Because how many people who like tell their parents like I'm gonna be a content creator? They're like, great. What are you really gonna do? What's your full time job gonna be? I've heard that so many times. Like, great. So what's your full time job then? I'm like, oh well, I mean, what did I just say? Like the words I just said to you are what I do. So I think that could be part of it. It's like an artist. I'm a full time artist because this is the new version of I'm gonna be an artist or I'm gonna be in a band. You know, it was I'm a full-time musician to I'm a full-time YouTuber or streamer because people don't believe you that this can be a job.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely makes sense because people like it definitely like some people feel it needs that extra credibility towards it because if you say like if somebody asks you what do you do and you say I play video games and I stream them and people watch, like people are gonna be like, they're gonna look at you like you're stupid, which they have for me. Like people have definitely looked at me like I'm stupid. And so saying the full-time streamer is, while not necessarily the greatest way to say it, for somebody who doesn't necessarily understand that it can be a full-time job, I think it does help for those people. But you know, when it comes to people like us who understand like everything that goes on behind the scenes and how streaming in itself can't always pay for all the bills, so you need to be doing other things anyway, full-time streaming is just a very weird way to say it. But what I want to touch into on this is a lot of the reasons why I see people stop streaming or take a break, or they just get so burnt out that they just give up on streaming entirely and they go like to look for a job, like a quote unquote real job, as people like to say. And a lot of the issue that I see is that people worry about how much money they make make on stream. So it can get to the point where you pay attention to how much money you make each day. And like at that point, it's not the fun hobby that you wanted to do before. It's not a creative thing that you're doing. You're just focusing on how much money you're making, which is the same as just any other job ever. So like your passion for it is gonna deplete really fast if all you're worried about is how much money you're making on a specific day. Like the average amount of money that you need to make on a specific day is not a number that you should be thinking about while streaming, because you're not going to be putting on the best, valuable entertainment that you could, because instead of thinking of, just having a good time with your chat and putting on good content, you're thinking about, well, what kind of content can I do like right now to get a couple bucks from chat? And then what happens if you do that and chat doesn't give you the couple bucks? Well, then you need to think about another way to do it instead of just naturally streaming and being an entertaining person and just being yourself. I have plenty of friends who've had to deal with something like this, and they don't stream at all anymore. So yeah, I mean, there's better things to focus on when it comes to being a full-time streamer than just the numbers, as like when it comes to money. I think there's three things that you should really be focused on. Are you having fun doing it? Is chat having fun? Like, do they seem like they're having a good time in your actual chat box? And is your view count good? And is it growing? Like, instead of like how much money you're making, is your view count growing? And if it's not, then just focus on why it's not. Because everything else, like all of that, as long as it's going well, the rest of it will come into play later. As long as you're making good content, you're having fun, and your chat is having fun, the money will come eventually. You shouldn't worry about that, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think something too, like Sadomi, you said earlier something about people streaming, like jumping in and streaming 8 hours a day. I mean, if that works for you, fine, that's great. Keep doing what you're doing. Do what works. But I would say like 99% of people, that's not what's going to work. And we've talked about this before on the show. If you want to be a content creator, we won't even say full time. Like you want to be a content creator. That's your job, and that's what you want to do as your career. You can't just go live and that's it. You know, but like you said, there's so much behind the scenes. So think of the streaming as almost like a part-time job within your content creation job. So if that makes sense. So like, let's say you work for a company and one day a week you have to do box folding. So that one day a week is your box folding day. That one day a week is your streaming day. Think about it like that. You need to make content other places, online, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, if you like TikTok. And if you can't edit those videos, you either need to maybe hire someone to help you with that process or start learning how to do those things, because that is what's going to make a night and day difference for you. Is if you can, again, diversify yourself a little bit here. Being live on Twitch for 8 hours, what are you doing in that 8 hours to bring people in?
Yeah.
When you're live. Because think about it, when you guys are live, that's all you do. You might take a break here and there and you could send out another tweet, but that tweet isn't going to make a night and day difference. Yeah. It's when you start making podcasts like this, more people can find you through those because you're going to upload them to podcasting platforms and YouTube. When you make YouTube videos, you can do anything on YouTube within their terms of service and you can talk about, this is my experience with streaming. I started streaming a year ago and this is what I've learned and this is how far I've gotten and how I do things. And that will bring people into new people that say, how do I start streaming? They watch your video and then you say, by the way, I'm probably live right now on Twitch because I also stream. You should check it out. Links in the description. Then they can come watch your Twitch channel. And it kind of, those YouTube videos exist forever. It again becomes kind of a passive thing of that YouTube video is live 24/7, whether you're asleep, awake, on vacation, doesn't matter. That video is there and people can find you through that. Where if all you're focusing on is I stream 8 hours a day and then I get done, I go make dinner, I watch Netflix for a couple hours and I go to bed. Well, what happens after you're done? There's nothing there for people to find you anymore. So it's more than being a full-time streamer. It is, I stream a few days a week and I make content full-time.
Yep.
Also, one last thing for me. If you really like streaming, you don't have to really monetize it. If you're good on other parts of your life, like if you really are just fine, you don't gotta monetize streaming. You don't have to make it like a job. You don't have to like be full time or whatever you want to call it. You like if you're happy doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday after work, like 3 hours, and you're satisfied with where you are and everything. Honestly, that's a blessing in disguise, man. Take it, enjoy it, and just have fun.
And I think people that do that too, a lot of them say like if they do monetize it, they're not making a lot of money, but all that money you can use as fun money. It can just go right back into your stream. So that can almost be a way to buy new games or new gear and things like that and make that hobby pay for itself, but not pay your bills. Because I know if I make, $100 a month on Twitch, sure, cool, I can go buy a new video game, but I can't pay I can't even buy groceries with that. So you know, a lot of people will do that too. Think about it. If that's what you want to do it that way, that's perfectly fine. Don't feel like you have to, as soon as you hit affiliate and you're like, great, I got a sub, quitting my job.
Right. Yeah. Full-time streaming it's really interesting. I mean, because obviously, like myself, like with full-time content creation, because this is the only thing that I do for, you know, to pay for any of my bills or anything like that, is I do this podcast and I do streaming, and I'm, you know, starting to get into YouTube stuff like that too as well, because you can't just stream, like MPI was saying. You can't just do that for 8 or 9 hours a day or more. You can't expect to get real growth out of streaming because there's just no discoverability on Twitch, which is something that we talk about on this podcast a lot. And you could sit there and just be like, oh, well, I'll just wait for Twitch to add a discoverability feature. Like, you're not going to grow that way. You know, what if Twitch never adds something? So you have to take your own, you have to put it in your own hands. You know what I mean? You have to really do everything you can to get discovered, whether that's, you know, streaming, you know, posting on Twitter more often, making Twitter content when it comes to, like, you know, funny videos or anything. You have to go out, you have to make YouTube videos, you have to network. You really have to put in a lot more work than just streaming. Like we said before, streaming is the easy part. It's kind of like the reward for all the hard work that you do off stream, because that's like where you're not really putting in any real work. You're having fun with your community, hanging out, having a good time, making content, but it's not the same. It's not content to make you more discoverable. It's content to just put out there, you know, to a live audience. You know what I mean? There's so many things that you have to do as a streamer now, or as a content creator, to get discovered, that just streaming on Twitch is not going to do it. And you can't just wait for Twitch to add something to make it easier to find you.
Yeah.
Man, that's a heavy topic, though. It really is, because a lot of people just want to sit there, they just want to stream all the time and think that this is how you grow, and it's really not. So yeah. I don't know. Chat, don't forget, if you guys have any questions, just let us know. You can at myself and TRUgaming in the chat, and we'll answer it for you. You can also call in. You can get on the Discord call, and you can join up in a voice call if you want to, or video call, and you get priority over people who ask us in the chat. So I want to ask you guys, because this is something that, like, everybody here has probably answered before, but it's something that changes. Like, the answers change a lot over time with more experience and with how Twitch changes in general. But if you could go back and give yourself one tip for when you started streaming, what would it be? Like, what's the one thing that really makes a difference now that you didn't understand when you first started? Like, for me, I would honestly think it would be like what we were just talking about, because when I first started, I was streaming 10, 11 hours a day if I could. Mm-hmm. And that is not a good thing to do. And obviously I got burnt out when I first started, and it led me to, you know, I had to take a break for a second because of some military stuff, and I came back, and then I lost a bunch of my viewers. And I remember thinking, like, I put in this many hours a day for the last 3 months, and it's all just gone, when I could have been doing things to secure my community a little bit better off stream. You know, there's so many other things that you need to be doing. So like I don't know, Sadomi, what do you got, man?
For me personally, I think the first thing I would tell myself is get rid of all the old notions I had when I was streaming back in. So I first started streaming back in 2010. Was the first time I ever went live. And back then, whole different game. Mm-hmm. I advertised on 4chan, and I ran through a really ghetto OBS setup that I had to go through, like a platform called Livestream. And then there wasn't even a chat function. It was so ripped, dude. But honestly, I took that mindset into 2017 when I first started streaming again. And the first thing I would tell myself is to ignore everything I thought about it. Mm. And then instead focus on a point. Because ideally what I would have done is I would have focused on making Rocket League content, but would have focused on making it good. Because I first started out with playing Rocket League on stream because I love Rocket League and I was still super into it. I still am nowadays, but if I knew back then what I knew now, I would have focused on creating a niche for myself, creating a pocket, finding a need that needs to be filled. And at the time, I think a good need was custom game types, because there wasn't many in Rocket League back then. So if I focused on that back in 2017, probably would have been in a different position here and would have a lot more experience to draw from in the future. So I say do research, fill a need. I know this is probably really broad advice, but ask yourself why as many times as possible and give yourself straight answers to the why. If you don't know why, just tell yourself, I don't know why. Don't BS an answer to yourself to be like, I don't know why. Like, you'd be like, why are you streaming 8 hours a day? I don't know. Okay, cool. Great place to start. Then why are you streaming 8 hours a day? Okay, why can't you stream 4 hours a day? I can, but I don't know what to do those other 4 hours. Great, look that up. See, ask yourself why. That's the first thing I'll tell everyone. Ask yourself why. And if you don't know, keep asking why.
There you go. Sadomi's best advice ever is why. And it's literally for anything, but it makes sense and it works. It really does. Robu, what you got, man?
I would probably say don't worry so much about the fact that nobody is in your chat. That really bothered me really early on when like just nobody was there, like, or there was like that one person that was the only person, and it really affected my content, like just general. So try to focus on the content that you're making and the stream that you're making, and obviously if chat is there and you can interact with them, that's great. But when they're not, or even if the chat is, I've had many times where the chat is just rattling off the hinges, but they're all talking to each other, right? Like, where just focus on the content that you're making and realize that your stream, your VOD, you can put that elsewhere to make good content. So focus on the content that you're making on stream right now, regardless of what your chat looks like, because then you can put it, somewhere else that's more easily discoverable, like social channels, YouTube, like all sorts of stuff, right? Especially social, because like videos for the most part like perform way better than just like, here's a thumbnail of my stream, come, here's a URL, come click on it and watch. Like, why should I watch? It's a stupid static thumbnail. Like, so having like a funny little clip of something funny that happened on stream is a hell of a lot more compelling and will actually probably make me click on it, right? So yeah, just don't focus on the superficial stuff. Obviously, like when it comes to growing your channel, analytics and stuff is going to be important. But when you're streaming in the moment at the time, just like focus on the content that you're making in the moment. Because yeah, like I said, that definitely kind of affected a lot of my earlier streaming days.
Yeah, you mentioned something great there, that even when chat isn't necessarily active or popping, or when they're not really engaging with you, there's still content to be made. And like, you can, like, while streaming, you can record that content or take the VOD from that content and edit it down to something else that you can put on Twitter or YouTube to make really good content out of. Like, just because chat might not be super engaged and maybe the stream isn't going as well as you would want it to at that specific time, there's still content to be made that you can put other places where it doesn't really matter what happened on stream. You know what I mean? Because you can just edit it down to whatever you want. You can make really solid content. You're basically just playing video games for the sake of putting it up on YouTube at that point, which is, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And honestly, I think would add a level of security and a level of confidence to the streamer, because if all you're worried about is how chat is doing, because of your content and not what you could do with the content later, that it kind of like crushes your hopes a little bit for that day. Like, oh, this entire day is just nothing because the stream did not go well. But if you learn how to edit your own videos, or if you have somebody that can do it for you, that's extra content that can be made that could still make today a good day and make it productive.
Exactly. Yeah. Or in the worst case scenario, it should be fairly easy to even just trim something down. Like, I mean, you can do it even on Twitch, right? Like, you can do like a 10-second highlight if you wanted to and download that, like use that on social. Like, simple, easy, and like maybe use that on social for the next day, right? You're still making things to kind of help further your content and trying to get people into your stream. So
absolutely. MPI?
I think if I would probably tell myself, play what you want to play and make what you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first time that I ever like tried to dive into streaming, I was like, I think it was 2015, something like that. And I was still very, very into like competitive games. And I was like, that's the only thing that people stream. I was like, that means I have to stream Call of Duty. Was not good at it. I did not have fun streaming it.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's what you have to do to grow, because I didn't realize, people do watch story-based games, or they do watch people that are just talking to the camera. They watch video editing, they watch everything. And I was very stuck in the you have to play what's popular to grow. And I feel like we still see that a lot too, with the biggest one being like Fortnite, which, I mean, if you like Fortnite, play it and enjoy it, but realize maybe that's not the only answer. If that makes sense. Like, you have to focus on enjoying the game, but also, finding somewhere that you're going to not be buried in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like just kind of like walking into like every like concert ever and just being like, I sing too, and then trying to sing in the crowd. Well, yeah, everybody else in the crowd singing too. So you're not going to stand out. You have to do something to stand out that you still enjoy. And it's you have to find that balance. It can be kind of hard, but if you're sitting there and you're looking at it and you're saying, I really like playing this game, but I hate that no one is watching it and I'm not growing, maybe try another game that you like. But if you do the same thing, don't play a game you hate just because you know it will get you views. That's not worth it. If you want to do that, maybe like once a week because it's funny to watch you be upset at Dark Souls, or as like a milestone when you start to kind of get a little bit bigger and say, when we reach 500 followers, I'll do a Dark Souls stream because I'm bad at it and it'll make you guys laugh. But don't do that just because you think you're going to grow. Find that good balance of enjoyment and productivity.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, the gameplay decision is huge on that too, because when I first started streaming, the only real inspiration that I had on Twitch was Tim the Tatman, who pretty much only plays multiplayer shooters, which I really do like those games. But I think that playing story-based games is a little bit more difficult, just to make content out of, especially when there's not a chat to react off of what you're doing. And also, you're forced to play that alone. Like, you don't have any other like teammates to bounce conversations back and forth from. So it can be more difficult for sure, but I think it's a really good lesson that every streamer should learn is just streaming solo and streaming a game that doesn't have the same replayability as like Rainbow Six Siege or Fortnite or anything like that. Like, playing a story-based game and figuring out how to pace yourself on that, I think, is really important. And it gives you the opportunity to, pause the game and talk to your chat more when chat is, wanting to go into a deeper conversation than you just playing a video game and reacting to what they're saying. It's very important. And I think that more streamers should try to focus more on solo gameplay than just playing multiplayer games with friends all the time, which is something that I suffered from for a long time as well. And I'm glad that I'm starting to get out of that hole a little bit, because it does start to trap you. And I think that especially for smaller streamers too, like there just seems to be this trend of people only playing multiplayer shooters and playing with friends because they're scared of streaming solo, because they don't know how to keep a conversation going with the chat, and they don't know how to keep the stream going at a certain pace that's entertaining for people.
Yep. I've seen a lot of people use that as a crutch. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
It was funny too, because like when I started streaming, I was streaming like Overwatch because, well, one, I actually enjoyed Overwatch, but also because it was popular. But I actually did a better job with streaming when I would stream Diablo 3, and it was largely because, well, one, I played only hardcore and everybody wanted to watch me die and then cry. But I also played it for so long that I actually knew what I was talking about. So like while I was doing things or changing out gear, I would find another piece of gear to use. I would explain why that was good or bad. And like, I actually got a lot of people in chat because they just knew that if I was playing, that I was a good resource to come and like learn things from. So it was interesting. But again, to your point, like I would play most of that alone, right? Whereas before, when I would play Overwatch, I would usually have teammates and stuff like that. But I felt like I was also using it as a crutch because, like you said, we were like talking back and forth and making jokes and whatever. But then, like when it came to, oh, I'm playing solo now and I have no one to talk to, like what do I talk about? Like just like, and then you kind of have to like learn how to like have that almost like train of thought, but like you're vocalizing it, but doing it in a way that's entertaining. Because like if you actually hear my actual own thoughts, it would not be entertaining.
Yeah. Sadomi, what do you got on this, man?
So when it comes to crutches, I'm going to let you know, bank off of that too. The one thing I always told myself and other people is that if you have to rely on chat completely to have content for your stream, you don't have content, you don't have material.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with being interactive with chat. In fact, I say do that. That is the best part about Twitch. It is a live interactive platform. This is why you would go to a stream versus going to YouTube. Because let's be honest, if I want tips on Diablo 3, I can get a 10-minute video packed with 25 million. And if I watch Rob stream, I probably get one in like 15, 20 minutes. So easy ROI on that. You go to YouTube video. But the reason why you come to Rob stream is because you have a question, he'll answer it faster than email, faster than a DM, and it's right there live, and you can see him kind of implement that live as well. So that's the benefit. So use that benefit. But, and I use myself as an example here too. Whenever I do a stream, 9 times out of 10, I plan it out. I have topics I'm going to talk about. I have things I want to touch. I have events I want to go over. And having that preparedness helps me have a better stream. And sometimes, for me personally, for what I do, streaming for 8 hours would kill me because I can't talk about something for 8 hours because I need to stop and do research and stop and look it up, stop and make notes. So also take a note that not all the time you need to stream as long. And remember where your personal burnout like level is too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. MPI?
I did the same thing where I was like, I'm going to stream for 9 hours a day. Don't do that. You will grow to hate it very quickly, and eventually realize I need to cut this back a lot. Whether you want this to be your job or not, you will hate it. I guarantee it, because there's such an obligation that you feel like you have to do it every day from this time to this time, no matter what. And then if you're not doing it, you're either letting people down or you're failing. And if you're streaming because you feel like you have to, you're not going to make good content, and then people aren't going to want to watch or come back to the stream. And or if somebody new comes in, they get, like 5 seconds to decide if they want to stay or not, because people move on very quickly. So if they come in and they just see you hunched over, just like the most disappointed, defeated look on your face, like I died again. Great, this is fun. They're gonna be like, well, this isn't a fun stream, I'm gonna move on. And then that person will never give you the time of day again.
Right, because there's so many other options to choose from. Why would they?
Right. So if you're feeling like you have to stream, you need to take a step back and look at why, and then figure out how to fix why you feel like you need to stream 8 to 10 hours a day. Is it because that's the only way you think you're going to make money? Because that's not going to help. Is it because you think that's the only way you're going to grow followers? Because that's not going to work. Is it because you think that people aren't going to watch you if you don't? Because that's not going to work. So why do you feel like you have to stream that much all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got a question from Two Chews that we haven't been able to answer yet. So he says, other than uploading your VODs to YouTube, how else can you reuse that content?
So do you mind if I hijack this one?
All right. Do it up. Yeah.
So for this one, I want everyone to be involved because this is a nice little fun little segment here. So the first question I want to ask everyone here is, think about TV advertisements. Sorry, just advertisements in general, okay? Name every kind of advertisement that you can think of. So just go ahead. Go.
You want us to name off?
Am I cheating if I worked in advertising?
No, actually, that's great.
No, can I copy your homework?
Video, social video, paid media video.
Product placement.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of pre-roll stuff.
They took all my answers, is why I'm not answering.
And so when you think about that, you even think, let's break it down a little easier so more people who have a marketing background can understand. So let's say TV advertisements, radio advertisements, Google Word advertisements, banner ads, billboards. What do you know about all those advertisements? They're consumed in different ways because of different platforms they're on. And so you have to take that in mind when you're taking VOD content and splitting that up onto different platforms. Okay. If you put it on Twitter, that same content on Twitter is not going to work the same as it's going to work on YouTube. That content on YouTube is not going to work the same on TikTok. That topic on TikTok is going to work the same through a Twitch clip. And that Twitch clip isn't going to work the same through, we'll say, Instagram, the same way. So what you have to do is take your content and think about how a user would view it on that platform. And then cater it to that platform. So if you have a VOD, okay, out of that VOD, if you take note of important things, you can take a clip out of that, keep it on your clips page, share as much so it gets bumped up to the top of your page so people see it. That's what I do with one of my clips. The clip where I scared myself and I pee myself on stream. I share that as much as possible so we can get up to the top above the top of my PUBG hack that happened once, which is not nearly as entertaining. And also you take that clip and you put subtitles under it and make it short and sweet, post it on Twitter or Instagram so people can, while they're scrolling, they can get interested, they read the text because your eyes will read no matter what. It kind of happens, hard to avoid. And if you take that VOD and you take certain parts of it that are targeted and directed, not just a compilation of clips and highlight and montages, because you can just do that on like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, like things that people look at, quick things. But if you had a part where you like popped off on one round, like you got 27 headshots in 3 rounds of CS:GO, and you just, like put that entire like round up on YouTube, do that one, and I'm gonna cut this a little short here just because I want to kind of bang this part home. Think about why someone would want to care about it, and think about how they're going to view it, and then take that and cater it to that need. Essentially, every time you're putting something out there, you're catering to a need. So focus on catering to that need. And I think that is the best way you will succeed in putting any of your repurposing VODs, repurposing streams into anything whatsoever.
There you go. MPI?
I mean, that pretty much nails it on the head, you know? Like, really think about why you're making something. And, you know, like he said, the biggest one that I liked in that was add captions to it. And if you don't have captions in your stream, you can easily add them in any video editing software. You literally just have to type the words in, and that's it. Like, it takes maybe 5 minutes. And then export it the way that it needs to be exported, because Twitter will not take anything over 720p, which is stupid. But it will not take anything that is 1080p, which if you're recording your stream locally, it's probably 1080p. If you've uploaded it or you're taking it from the VOD already on Twitch, it's probably 720. Make sure that it's in the correct aspect ratio if it can be. Upload it to those places and make sure that you kind of follow like the unspoken guidelines of those platforms. Like on Twitter, don't use 100 hashtags. On Instagram, go for it. Add as many hashtags as you want, because you have unlimited characters. Well, not completely unlimited, but you have more characters, and you can kind of hide them in the bottom with, you know, like the enter over and over and over again. So that way it reaches farther. People can find it, but it's not in their face. You know, hashtag Twitch clip, hashtag Twitch clip of streamer, hashtag Twitch streamer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So like, follow the unspoken guidelines of those platforms, because they're not rules. You won't get in trouble with the platform, but any user of it will look at your tweet that is nothing but hashtags and just kind of go, why did I follow this person? And then unfollow.
And also one thing too with YouTube, make a goddamn thumbnail.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't have like
even if it's not an amazing thumbnail, just something. And if you can't do it, go to Fiverr. Find someone who can help you with it, because that makes a night and day difference. I have one that is just, I mean, it's even just like a red background with white text from before I knew how to use Photoshop. And that was better than a bad still that YouTube pulls from the video.
You can do that on your Twitch VODs too. For the love of Christ, just do it. Yeah. If you're gonna put it on your YouTube, just do it on your VODs too.
Rob, what do you got on this question, my dude?
I mean, I think I filled in a bunch of that stuff, right?
Don't yell at me, Rob.
Along the top with the paid media stuff and all that. But I totally agree.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything that would be enlightening after all of this.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think too, this isn't like, I guess this isn't a direct answer to that question, but goes along with making other content. Don't just reuse your VODs. Yep. Make something else. Think of something else you can do, whether it's tutorials in the game that you're really good at. You know, like Rob was talking about, he's had a lot of knowledge of Diablo. You can make videos about that stuff. Tutorials on how to set up things in your stream. Even if you just want to do like vlogs outside of your stream, just like, this is my daily life whenever I'm not streaming. Here's another look at what I do. Make other things too. Don't just reuse those VODs, because that gets very stale.
Yeah.
Very quick.
So yeah, to that point, actually, it was funny because like, so I would do a lot of the VOD sharing and stuff across social and whatever. But I also found that like when I took videos of like my setup and like walked people through my just setup, like that actually got a lot of traction, because there's just a group of people that like to see people's setups and like how their like desk is positioned, or what lighting they use, or what cameras they like to use. Like people love to see that stuff too. So like there's just try different stuff, so it's not just like the same thing over and over. Like nobody wants to see a bunch of just, oh, his social's a bunch of montages. Like,
yeah, it's the same thing I watched on his live stream yesterday.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And MPI, I like what you said there. Really big, really huge issue. Don't just upload VODs to YouTube. Like, make sure to edit it down. You know, like you can't just use a VOD.
You put some work
just
into it.
Yes, because nobody on. I'm sorry.
Even if it's just trimming it up, dude. Like anything, because how often are you, especially if you're streaming like a multiplayer game, how often are you streaming that game and you're in queue and you're just kind of like, waiting for a game. Chat, how you guys doing today? I've never watched a YouTube video where they asked, hey chat, how are you doing today? And thought, this is a great video. Even better. I can't respond to that question. This question is now irrelevant. So you don't have to add a bunch of crazy transitions or a lot of effects or anything like that. In fact, I would say don't add a lot of those. Keep it simple, because too many of those it gets time consuming, and it gives people a headache. If you're like whipping and panning and spinning everywhere, it's like, just trim up the important things, delete the other stuff, export it, upload it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to be an amazing professional editor to do those things. If you want those type of things, you can't do them, hire someone to do them, or learn how to do them over time. But don't feel like it has to be like a Hollywood tier movie or anything. It's just some clips put together, maybe a cool little background track, upload it, and make a thumbnail. For the love of God.
So who watches a 3-hour video?
Right. Yeah.
On YouTube.
Hoping to also find
15 to 25 minutes is like kind of your sweet spot, and then people are kind of like, okay, well, I've had enough of this, and then they go to the next video, even if it's your next video, but they're not going to watch the rest of that one.
Yeah. Like I mean, I remember I would take actually some of my old like Diablo 3 VODs, and like I would find like the 10-ish minute section where I was actually talking about the build that I was using. And like I would take that, but I would film like an intro and then go into like, here's me in game, like talking about it. And really like they didn't know any different, because I was using the same camera, same kind of setup and whatever. But like that just happened to take place 2 days ago, and I edited it and put it up there. Right.
Absolutely. Looks like we have a caller. We got Crazy Ass coming in here. So once Vince is able to switch the scene for us, I'll add him in. All right. This is about to get interesting. Crazy Eyes.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. How you guys?
You're cutting out quite a bit. I think you asked if we're doing good.
You doing good?
Doing great. How are you, man?
Good. I'm doing good. I was thinking about earlier when Mr. MPI Instinct was talking about being an affiliate for like 4,000 different brands, and it's like, I mean, you get like $1 for every 8 T-shirts you sell, and if you're selling like 7,600 different T-shirts, like it adds up. I don't know. My real question is actually for Rob, because he seems to know the most about like the toss. Are you allowed to get alcohol sponsors on Twitch? I'd be like, this stream is brought to you by My Life Problems, but then it's like, McGillicuddy's, and you just drink it. Are you allowed to promote alcohol on stream?
So we've had other sponsors in the past where some of them were alcohol sponsors. It's a different. It's a weird little like gray area between like having an alcohol sponsor and then also having a stream where that person is also like fit-shaced, just falling over themselves.
Having an alcohol sponsor versus having an alcohol problem. Yeah,
I mean, usually having the alcohol problem is not a good look. But yeah, so it's.
Because I'll very often, like, I'll just, I'll drink a Sam Adams, like I'll pour Sam Adams over coffee, and then I'll drink the coffee that's made with the Sam Adams. And then I'm like, Sam Adams, if you're watching, you want to sponsor me, please let me know. So I wasn't sure, if that's allowed.
Oh, man, that sentence just stressed me out so much.
It was with Sam Adams Summer Ale, so it was like a lemon Summer Ale coffee.
That sounds awful.
Okay, I'd try that. Let's do it.
No, I wouldn't.
Maybe put it in some cold brew, and you'll be okay.
So, okay, because I know you can drink on stream, right? Because I don't know how I would do it without that. That might be an indicator of a problem as well. But I just wasn't sure if you actually were allowed to get, like, G Fuel sponsors the crap out of people. It was like, I really want to get, Glenlivet to be like, yeah, this guy. All right, this is the guy.
Didn't Voodoo Ranger IPA do that not too long ago? They had like a big thing for a while where I saw like 5 or 6 people that were like, I'm now sponsored by this. And like every stream they had it in their sponsor banner and had booze. So I would assume that it's acceptable, because I can't imagine a company wouldn't do their research before they sponsored people.
The only issue I see is probably an FCC issue, because I know you can't consume alcohol while you're advertising it
on TV.
Yes, but you have to think, when are they going to come for live stream markets? Because there's too much money in here for them to ignore at some point. They're going to come for it eventually.
They haven't come for YouTube yet. I mean, those parents of that poor 8-year-old kid are probably making him film videos 39 hours a day. And, there's no laws against that right now.
Yeah,
well, on TV, though, you have to pay for that advertisement placement.
Yeah.
Crazy eyes. It looks like you're drifting off camera a little bit there, man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, all right. Okay. But
so I wonder if that's part of the difference, is like you have the alcohol, you're paying the television station for the sponsor spot and paying to create the advertisement. I wonder if that makes part of it. I don't know. Sometimes FCC laws make no sense to me.
Yeah, I thought it was
a really good point.
That scared me, to be honest.
We all know Velok loves being scared.
I love it so much. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because there was a Miller Lite commercial, and I think Tim the Tatman like cracks it open and drinks it in the advertisement on Twitch. I'm pretty sure. And I thought that was really interesting because on TV, like, that's a huge no-no, like Sadomi was saying. But on Twitch, it's apparently different because it was different on Twitch. So I thought it was just weird. But yeah, interesting question.
Oh, that's good, because I get in a lot of trouble for that. So I'm so often I'm just drinking. I'm like, hey, beverage, if you want to sponsor me, let me know. And then I just go back to being bad at video games. I spilled water on my keyboard. Don't worry about it. I got hummus. It's fine. I need a towel.
Oh God.
My water bottle has a Bluetooth speaker in it, but I didn't close it, and I knocked it over, and now my life is ruined.
But hey, at least you can listen to music.
Yeah, from your water bottle.
You got that going for you.
I only listen to inappropriate rap because I'm at work.
Good.
I was going to ask a question about inappropriate rap on stream too, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm so sorry.
I knew that was happening. He didn't give me this week, but that's Crazy Eyes for everybody who didn't know him. He's He's Crazy Eyes, and
Oh,
that's
well,
pretty much.
Shout out to Vince for doing that transition on perfect timing.
Right.
Yep. I think he got Vince last week, but most of the time Vince is on top of it. But yeah, so good question, because obviously there's like, you never know with alcohol and on stream, and a lot of people still don't know that you can't monetize drinking alcohol on stream. You see that a lot.
Yeah.
Where like I'll do like a shot for every sub, but that's like huge no. Like that's really, really bad, and I promise you're gonna have a bad time. If you don't get banned right away, you're probably gonna get banned eventually. But yeah, so Sadomi, I don't know if you had any topics you wanted to talk about, my dude.
This week I'm just kind of like letting everything flow through questions. Everyone kind of going through everything. Normally I do prepare a lot more, but I think because this week was kind of the biggest thing was I'm still surprised. Why would you have a gun and booze within like 10 feet of each other?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Especially on stream.
Also, I'm sorry. You can generally tell someone's intelligence levels by their like overlays.
By their overlays?
Yeah, on their stream.
Did he not have a good one? I didn't really pay attention.
No, like on the top, he I think it was like bits for women bits or something.
I didn't see that at all. I was literally just too distracted by the fact that he checked it around, and it bothers me immensely. Like, I don't know if you guys could tell, but
yeah. Like, what are you hoping to accomplish?
There's no good that can come out of it.
Because it wasn't like he just picked it up to like, oh, let me show you guys what it looks like. He was like, nah, bro, gang, I'm cool, bam.
Right.
Yeah,
and
like
even then.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying about his overlay. Good God,
like even then, if he wanted to just
getting worse.
I don't even know if I can watch it anymore. But like,
and the worst part is if you see when everyone sees that clip on like the internet, they'd be like, "Oh, you stream on Twitch? You do that? Oh my god!"
Yeah, it's a bad look all around. It's just a bad look. There's no need to bring a firearm onto your stream, even if you wanted to show people what it looks like. Still not a good enough reason. Just keep it off of your stream. It's totally fine not having a weapon on stream. I promise. I've done it for forever, and it's going really, really great. Yeah, I'm just gonna say
my stream and it's working out.
Yeah,
compared to people who get banned,
staying there. So
yeah, there's nothing cool about bringing a weapon out.
Yeah, look at that. It's not moving. Oh, yep, still not moving. It's not on this camera.
Crazy, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's so weird. MPI or Mr. Robu, if you guys had any topics, probably not, but no. All right, cool.
I do have one thing we can kind of bring up real quick. And where do you so I know everyone here has different like interests in the industry, but where do you guys see yourselves career-wise, both with like content creation and just working in the industry in the next like few years?
Ooh.
I've always wanted to be a CMO. I want to be, but like not one of those CMOs that walks in like the suit and tie. Like, this is literally how I dress at work. Like, I walk into like high-level meetings with executives that we have on the team where like I have my hat on backwards and like, and they're just like, okay, this guy. And it's like, all right, well, I've been on the team the longest, so who are you?
Boom.
But yeah, no, I've always kind of enjoyed marketing, especially in games, because it's kind of an interesting challenge. Because like gamers, for the most part, do not like being told stuff, right? Like, so you have to do it in a very like authentic way, and like so like if your marketing copy or your videos or whatever, your assets or anything that you're trying to like put in front of people comes off as being very disingenuous, you just get flamed into oblivion. Which is also why it's like very important, especially for like us and the just like the Twitch Prime team in general, is that like we have a bunch of gamers on the team, but it's also like a diverse group of gamers. Like, I don't play every game that we have, right? Like, but they also don't put me on those accounts, so like there's a reason for that. But like I've always enjoyed that, so like that is something that I've always kind of gravitated towards, even when I wasn't thinking about like, I want to do marketing. It was like when I was doing game dev, I was like, how do I get people to play my game? Right. Because like if I'm making a game, it doesn't really matter if nobody's going to play it. So like, how do I get it in front of people? And then once I joined the Twitch Prime team, it was like, okay, well, like now how do I speak to Destiny fans? Right. Or how do I speak to Borderlands fans? Or like maybe there's overlap there. Like there's a bunch of like cool analytics stuff behind the scenes that you have to think about when you do marketing stuff. Like I've always enjoyed learning new things, and there's like constantly new things being like discovered or coming into play, right? Like marketing now isn't the same marketing that you did 10, 15 years ago, right? Like social media is a lot more apparent. Like obviously like content creators on Twitch, on YouTube are a lot more focus. So it's going to be interesting, but it's always something that's going to be, you know, changing and adapting, which is something that I always really enjoy. I hate it when you are at a company for like 10 years and you know how to do every job there and it never changes and you're just bored out of your mind. Like I like the challenge and the kind of the chaos that comes with just like having to adapt and learn new stuff. So
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Well, I would like to say that I have that good of an outlook. I mean, I don't know that like I necessarily care if I'm working specifically in the gaming industry. But I would like to continue using like the skills that I already have and that I'm learning and growing all the time through video editing and like video creation in some type of way that I care about, whether it's through like the gaming industry, helping like smaller local businesses create content for their business so they can grow beyond just being, you know, the one store in the one town where the, you know, 10 people come to it because they know that it's there. Or like in the mental health space. So something in the realm of things that I care about and I'm interested in and can use the skills that I enjoy using and learning to kind of overlap those things, whether it's in gaming or not.
Yeah.
And I prefer to continue to do it freelance for myself. I don't really want a boss again. I don't like working like 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and being told that's when I'm going to be creative. Because I can't be creative when you tell me to be creative. You know, it doesn't, brains don't work that way. You can't just say like, all right, well, we need this video made and I need you to, you know, put some cool spin on it. I'm like, okay, well, I just woke up, calm down. I've been awake for 5 minutes and you are coming at me pretty hard.
Like, I'm gonna need you to ease back, boss. All right, thanks.
Yeah, so like being told when you're going to make something and how you're going to make it is really, really hard in a creative space. Having the freedom to say, you know, I don't really have an idea right now. This video has to be done by X day, and that is, you know, 2 weeks away. You know, I'm gonna go for a walk for a little bit. I'm gonna go outside and clear my head, listen to some music maybe, or you know, listen to a podcast, something to get away from that space where most Monday through Friday jobs that you work 8 to 5 don't give you that freedom. They say you are in your office, in your chair this entire time, except for the 30 minutes we allow you to eat lunch, and you're going to make stuff for us. And it becomes like an assembly line. And I saw that when I worked in advertising for a casino, and there was nothing creative about their advertising. It was literally the same thing every time. They had a template of this is what went at the bottom. This is what goes at the top. This is the font you use. This is the coloring you use. And sure, you need to stay on brand. I understand that. But when your advertisement is literally just like, okay, well, we're going to take this week's graphic for the, you know, the slot tournament out, and I'm going to put in the poker tournament graphic that we used for the last 10 years. I'm like, no one cares anymore. Like, we took a creative job and made it an assembly line. And that sounds actively miserable to me. So those would be the only speculations I have about it, is I want to continue to do it for myself and be given like, these are the guidelines of what I want and I need, or like, this is my branding colors and things. Make me something creative that will help me. I want to be able to continue to do that.
Hell yeah. I think for me, like I see myself still making content, whether it's streaming, YouTube, things like that. I think I'd still do that for a while because I really, really do enjoy it. But in the future, if I do have to get to a point where I need to start looking for a job, I would definitely like to do something in the gaming industry of some sort. I don't know exactly what I would like to do. But I know, video games are obviously a huge part of my life, and they have been for a really long time. It's something that I'm thoroughly passionate about. And I think it could be fun having a job in that industry. If content creation doesn't pan out to be a career for me, then yeah, I could see myself, looking for jobs in the gaming industry for sure.
Yeah. I honestly don't.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't think I would do anything outside the gaming industry, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat where my brain is telling me I'll play this. If the money's right, I would do something outside just because I like money. I'm not motivated by it, but I like it.
Right.
And I'll work a job that's cool, that's okay, that pays me well for a few years to get, stable. But eventually, ideally, I'd like to do something where I can have creative freedom, but not necessarily be strictly for laughs or be strictly for we'll say entertainment purposes. Like I want to help people, but I also want to make advancements. I want to be able to do something that I can tell people I'm proud of. And honestly, if my first sentence someone says, "Hey, Sadomi, what do you do?" If my answer isn't like canned on the spot, and you don't see my face go like after I finish saying that, like the most smug smirk in the world, then I didn't hit my goal yet. So that's kind of where I'm headed.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. Good question, by the way. So I think we're going to end it here. Don't have any more questions or anything. So we're ending it about 20-ish minutes early. But thank you, everybody, for being on the show. And thanks for everybody for coming in and listening, asking questions, calling in, even if it was crazy eyes. So with that being said, Rob Busey, thanks again for being on the show, my dude.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I blanked out real hard there for a second. Where can people find you, and what have you been streaming lately, man?
Oh, man. So my Twitch channel is really easy to remember because it's literally Rob Busey. Find me there. You can find me on Twitter at Robert_Busey because apparently there's a other Rob_Busey who I'm going to have to find and hunt down so I can get my actual name on Twitter. I've been streaming a lot of Borderlands, honestly. I'm a guy that just loves looter games, obviously, because I like Diablo 3 so much. And just getting gear. So like that totally fits my, I guess, the quirk in my brain that likes to just farm bosses over and over and over and over again. So yeah, that's why I've been streaming.
Awesome. MPI, where can people find you? What have you been up to lately, if not streaming?
Yeah, so I haven't been streaming in a while, but I will be starting up again this week is the plan. The goal is Thursday and Friday, just do a couple like 3-hour streams to kind of ease my way back into the waters. And I'll be picking up Skyrim again. Since I'm still on the first playthrough, that game's so long, I don't really want to deviate from it because I'll never come back to it and finish it. So yeah, you can find me twitch.tv/MrPureInstinct. Twitter is the same name. You can follow me on both of those places to know when I'll be live. I outside of streaming, I do freelance work. So I do photography, videography, and video editing. So that is kind of up in the air when you have work and when you don't have work. So that's why stream kind of is up in the air when I stream and when I don't. Because if I have a really busy week, I may not stream because I have to get those things done first because that's food and rent and mortgage and all that fun stuff we have to have. But if we have time, I'm gonna try to get streaming back in my schedule a little bit more than it has been.
Awesome. Good to hear, man. Sadomi, my dude, where can people find you and what have you been up to lately?
Well, first off, thank you everyone who listens to this podcast. It really warms my heart that you guys value our opinions and you like tuning in every week. I really do love it. You can find me on YouTube, Sadomi, and I recently just put out a video actually where I was talking about my fear of how I've been scared to stream lately. And so if you want to watch that and kind of see my insight, I recommend you do. I please hope you do. It'd be great. I'm also going to be streaming today, hopefully. I don't procrastinate too far. Nah, we will. But yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/Sadomi, got the URL, and twitch.tv/Sadomi, Sadomi. So I'll see you guys later on. Mwah.
Awesome. And I'm Belloc_TV on everything, and I'm actually going to start doing some YouTube content probably this week. I'm going to start doing some virtual reality stuff. Pretty excited.
Oh yeah.
Very excited. But thanks again, everybody, for listening. Thanks everybody for watching, asking questions, everything. We really appreciate you guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday as always. Sadomi?
Blaze it.
There you go. Take it easy.